very much indeed. Come on, Bernard. Great, that's wonderful.
Okay,
Here we are.
friend.
Good, all right. Great, thanks very much indeed. But mind your head there. Come on. All right, here, hold this. Come on, hang on. Right. Here we are, Bernard.
What a good night,
That's great. Thanks for giving us a lift, Bernard, because we'd have been stuck waiting for that bus forever. You have no idea.
I'd have walked.
Come on then, right. All right, Bernard, thanks very much indeed for coming in. Welcome to the James Whale Show. Tonight, what are you lot doing here? We'll be talking to them a little bit later on, and to Bernard. Would you go and get the food on? Thank you very much indeed. We'll be talking about fast food as well. But first, here are the Pet Shop Boys. You're going to love this one, of course. What's it called? Left to My Own Devices. Here it is.
46-1000. James Whale.
Flipping fast food all over the place. I don't know, you know, for goodness sake, it's your fault. Stop it. Welcome to the show, the James Whale Radio Show tonight, with all sorts of interesting things happening. My very good friend, Mr. Bernard Manning, is here. Bernard, thank you for joining us.
Pleasure, my pleasure.
Lovely to see you. Do you like fast food, by the way?
Love it.
You do?
Love it, yes.
If you want to have a sip of milkshake, we've got some Coca-Cola, we've got all sorts of stuff here. Now, last week, I'm worn out now, all this rushing around cleaning up the studio. Last week, we were talking about lorry drivers, and we are doing a programme in the new year about lorry drivers' antics. Do you ever have any problems with that or not?
Not much at all, no.
You don't?
No. It's pretty good with me, the lorry drivers. If I'm broke down, mostly on the CB, and they'll pull up and give us a lift.
You just watch what happened to me, actually. We'll just refresh your memories from last week. I am, as I say at this moment, doing 50 miles an hour. An F-registered, articulated Mercedes lorry is coming along, and it's coming very fast up behind me. In fact, I may even get scared. It's coming so close. I'm doing 50 miles an hour, and it's going to sit on my tail like that. I cannot believe it. OK, well, Whaley's Mail, of course, has been flooded this week with your thoughts on lorry drivers, and I quote just a few. Trev and Matt from Leicester Polly. What's wrong with you, Whaley, they say. For goodness sake, can't you drive more than 50 miles per hour? What were you doing getting in the way of those nice lorry drivers? Prats. It's a 50-mile-an-hour limit. And Trevor Grayson from Grimsby wrote to me, he says, well done for exposing the problem of speeding lorries on motorways. Why is it that the carnage they regularly cause is so frequently glossed over by both the media and the police? I don't know if that's really fair, Trevor, do you? And Ken Watkins from Oxford said, you showed some of those psychopathic lorry drivers driving as those glued or as though glued to your rear bumper. This is a favourite trick of the macho Yorkie bar eaters who think the road belongs to them. And we've had loads of other letters as well. If you want to write to us about the lorry drivers, we're doing the programme in the new year. You've got a very flash car, Bernard.
Yes, and I believe in drinking and driving. There's nothing worse than having a smash if you're stone cold sober.
Oh, Bernard! Slap wrist. Slap wrist. The address to send your letters, of course, to Whaley's Mail, care of Yorkshire Television, Leeds, LS31JS. There we are. As I speak, it comes up on the screen. I didn't think you'd get such a good reception from students when you came in. They seem to love you.
Oh, they love me. I do the universities many times.
Yeah?
Oh, yes, oh, yes.
Do you get worried? I mean, people from time to time write nasty things about Bernard Manning isn't funny, he's only rude about other comedians and that sort of stuff. Do you get upset about it or not?
No. As long as my bank manager smiles when I go in the Monday morning. He says, whatever you're doing, Bernard, you're doing it right. You know, so...
Earlier on today, well, the students don't have much money, of course, which is one of their problems.
No, well, they're only young. They've got plenty of years to get money in. Lawyers, solicitors, dentists. They'll have money, don't worry.
They will.
Oh,
you're confident?
But I'm confident.
I can hear them cheering outside at the moment. We went to Manchester today to find out whether or not they are as poor as they say. Have a look at this.
Whaley goes to town.
OK, well, we've come to Manchester University Students' Union to find out what these students spend all their money on, because, as you know, they have an awful lot of it. Come inside. Looks like somebody knows we're coming. Right. This guy here, all right? This one here, how are you, all right?
I'm fine.
OK, excuse me, just a minute. There we are, see that? Taxpayers' money down his neck, all right? You see that? The grant, far too much money. Look at that, he's had two already, and he's eating. I can't believe it. I mean, look over here, they're all getting pissed. Look at this. Look at how much, look at this. He's had 4 down here, and he's got an earring. It cost 10 quid to get his ear pierced. And they're drinking over in the corner here. Smoking taxpayers' money, look! He's flipping smoking it. It's disgusting. Look at this very nice bit of schmutter here. Nice leather jacket.
I got for 20 quid because it's got a cut down the back.
It's got a what?
It's got a cut in the back, so I got a cut price.
You didn't. Cut price.
Cut
That's a joke, OK?
Cut price.
But just think, when you work up and get more money, you'll appreciate the real thing. Look at this. Oh, dear me. I hope Norman Tebbett's not watching, for goodness sake. So what do you think about this possibility of paying the grant back with a loan system?
Well, I won't do it.
You won't do it?
I'll take out the loan, but I won't pay it back.
You won't pay it back?
No.
No, that's what I like to see. Socially aware student. Look at this. Those are expensive.
Yeah, well.
Yeah? Well, I'm concerned. And the leather gloves as well. I mean, it's a bit... What? Very... You know who you remind me of? I'm not being rude, but you look a bit like Superman. What, Clark Kent? Is this the sort of image you're trying to portray?
No, not really.
No, I just heard that students didn't have any money, and I wanted to come and find out if that was true.
Well,
Obviously, it's not true. OK. Yeah, how are you? That's very... Now, this is what... Can we get a shot of this? Come on, please. This is what I want to see from my student, all right? This is great. Filthy...
Long, unwashed hair.
It is... And I can vouch for that. It is filthy.
Have you ever seen a more disgusting specimen than this?
I don't think we have. Do they spend much money?
Thousands.
They don't.
They do.
I mean, seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah? Yeah? Are they're not short with flashing the cash?
No, we've got plenty.
You couldn't have lectures without a drink?
Well, no. I mean, have you tried it?
No, I haven't, no. So you can't go to a lecture without a drink?
461000. He's waiting for your call now.
OK, well, that's the number. Leeds, which is 0532 46 1000. From anywhere in the country, call us now if you have any views on student money. Kayam or Kayam from Anglesey. How do you pronounce it?
Hello?
Hello?
Right, first of all...
Yes?
I'd like to congratulate you last week on breaking every law in the British rule book about censorship on television.
Thank you very much indeed. Good. Right, Sean from Birmingham. That's enough of him. Sean, hello.
Hello, but I wondered if Bernard could tell me who his favourite and least favourite comedians are, please.
Do you want to tell...
Well, I used to like Tommy Cooper because he was very funny, had the face. There's a comedian in America called Don Rickles who never moves out of Las Vegas. He's absolutely magic. I went to see him when I was appearing over there myself. Absolute magic. And that's about it.
What about from this country, Bernard? I know you're never particularly nice about British comedians.
I like Frank Carson, and I like.
Who do you hate most, Bernard?
I like Tom O'Connor.
Who do you hate?
Such a lovely fella.
Who do you hate most, Bernard?
Oh, Max Bygraves. How that man's got on, I'll never know.
Mind you, you've got something in common with him. He doesn't like Nina Mishkov either.
Oh, it's true that.
Yeah, OK.
I've been reading about that.
We're going to take some more calls a little later. Thank you, Sean. Right now, we're into a break. Back after this. OK, welcome back, part 2. And in this part, we thought we'd invite a few of our unwashed friends into the studio and have a little debate about whether or not students have too much money. Before we get into it, this gentleman here is looking for a bike to ride from Land's End to John O'Groats. If you know of one, get in touch with us. OK, right. Now, let's just introduce you to my two guests. With me here, Derek Fatchett, who is MP for Leeds Central, Labour MP, spokesman on education. And next to him is Dr. Keith Hampson, who is Conservative for Leeds North West. Behave yourselves, or I'll go home.
Good objective audience.
Yeah.
And Keith was, of course, you were a spokesman on education when the Tories were in opposition.
Correct.
Such a long time ago. Yes.
I know.
Well,
Now,
he's
just-
run into trouble with Mrs. Thatcher since then.
Has he?
Yes.
We'll talk about that
We'll
later.
tell about it later.
Okay. Before we go any further, please shut up now and let's... Keith, first of all, you're a supporter of this idea of bringing the loan system in, aren't you? Explain just briefly why.
Well, all these students find it increasingly difficult to live on a grant. Something like 35–40% don't get all the parental contribution that they should be getting. And the overall cost of the scheme has gone up 3 times in the last 20 years. It's now about £800 million, the cost of student loans, student grants. That is more than any other country in terms of student maintenance. So my feeling is that we are limiting the numbers that can get into higher education because of the sheer cost of the maintenance awards.
You see, one of the biggest criticisms that this lot will probably lay at your door is that it will actually cut out poorer people managing to go into higher education.
Well, all other systems have some type of loan scheme, and the academic evidence has looked at it. It is not the case that there is a major disincentive. Certain places there might be some, but there is really no relationship between the sort of people going into higher education, whether there's a grant scheme or a loan
But they
scheme.
do say it doesn't work so well, because figures that I've been looking at say that in Sweden they're thinking of doing away with it, going back to the grant system, and in America they say the proportion of students who actually do pay back the loan is very, very low.
Well, it's not the case in the States, that figure. That figure is the federal level, but if you look at the state level, and most... That's not true. No, it's not. Most loans in America come at the state level. Every American state has a major loan scheme. The default rate at the state level, because you're closer to people, is relatively low. So, of course, there would be a problem with that. I think a loan scheme has not, for example, to require repayments if you have a very low income once you've graduated.
So you would only pay
or
back
something like
if
that.
you could?
If you could.
OK, Derek, little word for you. You're not in favour of it. Why not?
We're against it because if Keith's keen about improving income for students, then the best way of doing that is to increase the grant.
Hang on a minute.
It's all right. They're very
listen,
good. I brought this audience
yes,
with me.
I know.
I really.
It's dead simple. You can say increase the grant, and if there was more money in the pot, they do it. Everybody get more money. You wouldn't do it if you were in power, would you?
Let me tell you.
They didn't do it.
They didn't do it.
Cheap political points always from the Tory party. Let me tell you the truth about the loan scheme. That will cost by the end of this century £600 million. To increase the grant in line with inflation will cost £200 million. It's 3 times more expensive to go for loans than it is for grants.
And I believe also it would be difficult actually to work out the system. That would be more expensive as well. But let's just play fairy tales for one moment and let's pretend that the Labour Party was in government.
Politicians always play at fairy tales.
OK. Now listen, what would you do? What would you do if you were faced with a situation now to improve the students' lot? Now, I'm not at all convinced that they need more money. I mean, look at them. They look very well. None of them look too skinny. They're well-dressed. What would you do?
Well, they've come in dressed in their very best tonight in order to show respect for you, James. That's the reason they're looking like this. What would we do? We would increase the grant and we would give students a proper income on which they could live, and we would make sure that more youngsters from low-income families got into higher education. This loan scheme will squeeze those sort of youngsters out.
Can I just, there's one very
and it
simple
will cost
point.
a lot less.
We've been running the total grant scheme now for 25 years, and yet the proportion from manual blue-collar families has gone up from 3% to 6%. That is a lower proportion than in any country that has a loan scheme. We have this generous system, more generous than any other system in the world. It hasn't done supposedly what it's trying to do, which is to bring more people in.
OK, right, just before we go on, thank you, gentlemen, let's actually now take some comments from the students.
Well, I'd ask Keith Hampson a question. If he's so concerned about the welfare of students under the present system, why has his government cut back housing benefit and social security rights entitled to all students, and which mean that students are going to have a
OK, let's have an answer, Keith. What about this?
Well, because they...
All right, we'll take it as read that you want to applaud every time somebody says it. Right, OK.
Well, social security and housing benefits and things like that, students have had to go to because the grant has not kept up with the rise in prices. Under their government, under our government, it hasn't done, and it can't be expected to, whatever he says.
Do you think, and do the Tory party think, that they actually do need more money?
Well, of course, this is the whole point, that they will have access to cheap money
These
rather
are the
than
crocodile tears.
going through credit cards and bank overdrafts and having to borrow. Most students now end up with debts of about £1,000 to £2,000 after 3 years.
Let me ask, first of all, let me ask you, this guy down here, what happens when they bring the system of loans in, all right? What do you think will happen, as far as you're concerned, as a student?
I'm studying sociology and philosophy, and if I do take out, or have to take out a loan, it's going to be very difficult for me to earn enough money to pay the loan back. So that means that courses that don't have good job prospects are going to go by the board, and you're going to lose a lot of potential and new input into these disciplines, which I think is a shame.
But presumably you're only going to have to pay the money back if and when you can afford it, if you get the right sort of job.
And you can phase it over 10, 20 years.
Sorry. This lady over here.
Well, I want to suggest that I think the Tories are quite well aware that what the introduction of loans instead of grants does is to return to the bad old days when education, instead of being a right for everybody, free and equal, irrespective of how much money you've got, becomes a privilege for those people who know that when they leave college they're going to get a good job, they're going to be well paid, when the reality of the fact is that actually most students aren't. A lot of students go into low-paid, white-collar jobs and they're going to have to pay it back for 10, 15 years.
Please, I'm going to burst into tears. Now, come on. This guy down here.
I'd like to ask, if this proposed loan system is such a good idea, why aren't the banks giving it their backing?
Well, because we are trying to get a very flexible, sophisticated repayment so that if you are ill or you're not in a high-paying job, you don't have to pay it back. The banks want their money as fast as possible. It's not easy to persuade them to do the sort of deal the government wants. The money is cheap. It's interest-free. In a credit card, which a lot of students now have, it's 26% to 30%. Our bank overdraft is 15%. That is why I'm saying the recycling of money ought to bring
Keith,
more people in.
Let's go to this lady over here, first of all, the one with the lovely dangly earrings over there.
65% of the lower classes in Sweden do not go into higher education now.
How many?
65%.
That's
45. It is, I'm afraid.
Hang on, just a minute. Let's find out. What do you think the truth is, then, Keith?
Well, that is a very, very high figure indeed. I mean, that is worse than in this situation that we're virtually in here. It depends how you work these figures out. It really does. It really does. It really does.
Shush a minute. Take the rest of my figures.
Can I just say that the figures...
No, can I just finish my question, please? Yeah. 40% of students in Scotland, this is a highly qualified survey done in Scotland, 40% will not go into higher education if the loan system is brought in.
So
in
what
America,
is your name?
Both Fiona McCall.
Fiona, OK. Fiona, let me ask you, what do you think should be done as a student to increase the amount of money that students get? If we agree that students need more money to improve their prospects while they're at college, what should be done? What could the government do, short of just giving more money away?
It would cost the government £100 million to put the grant level back to what it was in 1979. But as well as giving students a decent living grant, what we need a lot more money invested in the education system itself, not just in the courses like engineering and mechanics that are going to go straight into high-paying jobs, but in the sociology degrees and in the arts degrees. Education is a cultural education as well as a career education.
OK, do you think it's right? I mean, in America, students actually do go out and work their way through college. Do you think that's a good idea? Do you have a job or not?
Well, I do have a part-time job as well, and that part-time job does take me away from my studying. The same has been proven in America.
But don't you think it's a good idea that if you're going to work for something, you appreciate it more?
It depends how hard you've got to work. Now what's happening, students are having to work so hard.
I mean, these are moaning over here non-stop. They don't look particularly hard work to me, but go on, sorry, Fiona.
Students are having to work so hard in so many hours that it is tiring them, it's stressful. And figures prove that students who have to work their way through the degrees do tend to take years out. Therefore, it takes them longer to get through their degree, takes them longer to get back into the employment market.
Young lady over here.
I think it's a question of morals. I mean, we've got we've got a massive deficit nationally, and you're encouraging people to take out loans. Now, I think morally that is totally wrong.
You are taking out loans now.
How do you finance yourself through... Hang on a minute. How do you finance yourself through university at the moment?
Pardon, sorry, I didn't hear
How
that.
do you finance yourself through college at the moment?
Well, through the grant.
But do you take out a loan or not?
Overdraft.
Overdraft?
Credit card.
Yeah, but that I object to that. I try not to get an overdraft because of the fact that I haven't
In
got
life in future, will you ever go into debt, or will you try to live your life without going into debt?
I will try to live my life without going into debt. I don't believe that to live in credit and buy on credit is a good thing.
OK, let me just come to Derek. Yes, I want to come to Derek because he's not said anything for a long, long time.
No, he's very quiet.
OK, Derek, let's, again, pretend that you're in power. What are you going to do? You're not going to just give more money. Now, let's not be silly about this. Nobody's just going to give out more money. So how are you going to refinance student money?
But the sums are so small to restore that... Yes, they are, Keith. Your £100 million will take it back to the level of 1979. To increase the grant this year in line with inflation would cost £25 million. Mr Baker's scheme is going to cost £600 million, more than three times as expensive. And the question of morality does come into this. This cabinet, this government, virtually every cabinet minister and every government minister has benefited from grants. They're now taking that ladder away from the next generation.
Let me just hear from...
forcing those students into debt.
Let me just hear from Keith, who doesn't think that's right. He looks at it differently. Explain to us.
Simply because if you compare what has happened, the student numbers have grown, therefore the cost of the grant scheme has gone from 200 million to 800 million. Of course, 100 million extra on present numbers. I want to see the higher education system expanded way beyond 400,000 students. Now, a whole group of students now have no access to any grants. Only these people that go in at 18 into first-degree courses or equivalent have grants. There's a mass of other students, part-time students, sub-degree level students, that get no access to any help at all in our country. But whereas in America and elsewhere, they're not going
to take grants. No, sorry, they're not going to take up. They're not going to take up loans. They're going to be squeezed out of the system altogether.
The whole point is that if you have more people in, although the loan scheme is very expensive to the government in the short term, you recycle the money after 3 years, 10 years.
Is there anybody here at all? Hang on just a minute. Is there anybody here at all who thinks that the loan system could be a good idea or not? Nobody at all. Is there anybody in the audience, as we come up to the end of this mini debate, who thinks... Be quiet. Is there anybody in this audience who thinks, as we come up to the end of this, that there's another way that perhaps both political parties have missed? Is there another way to finance higher education or not? This young lady down here again.
The only way is to stop treating students as if they're some sort of disease. It seems to be perfectly acceptable to go to school until you're 16, but as soon as you go to college, you're grouped into one big mass and classed as something wrong and smelly and don't work.
Oh, heaven forbid, heaven forbid. One more call, one more comment over here. Who was it? This gentleman down here.
I find it fairly ironic that Dr. Keith Hampson's talking about expanding the education system, because on the lobby of Parliament on the 24th of November, when Leeds students did lobby him, he said that he didn't believe in the Robbins principle, which says that if you've got the qualifications, you can enter higher education. I think that's very sad.
OK, you're going to carry on talking. We're going to take a break. Write to us or phone us if you have some views as well. We'll be back in a couple of minutes. Thank you very much indeed.
Free education.
OK, well, welcome back. Now, after having put them through all that sort of seriousness, now, I know they don't have enough money to go out and entertain themselves, do you? We thought as they came in tonight and joined the programme, we give them a little entertainment. Ladies and gentlemen, Mike Haley!
Yes, I was a student. Yes, I was a student for a year in London. I was a drama student. Oh, I am a tree. I thought I'd be Donald Sinden for a year. Pre-buzzing trying to match there. But it was just overcrowding. That was the thing in London. There's about 30 people just in my class, right? So, like, all your productions got to have 30 people in. Shakespeare, chaos. Because there's like 3 people in each character. You've just murdered Caesar, and there's 2 more of the buggers running around somewhere. And actors I just found was strange. I remember standing backstage with an actor friend of mine one night waiting to go on. And he's standing there going like this. I thought, brilliant. Get those face muscles warmed up, good performance. So I joined in. Well, how was that to know he's having a stroke? I mean, just from look. And I went to work, I got chucked out. And I went to work in a university bookshop. And that was another good thing, because when you're in a big shop in London, you get to meet lots of famous people. Me and Melvin Bragg, on speaking terms. Oh, yes. I'd say, that'll be £2.49, please. And he'd say, can I have a plastic carrier bag? And we'd laugh. It's true. Marlon Brando used to nip in for a chat every now and then. And I always used to say, I can't understand a bloody word you're saying. But people come up to the counter all the time. This is true. We had 4 floors of books, right? And one day, this is true, a woman came up to me and she said, I'm looking for a book, young man. And I said, yes, middle-aged woman. What? Well, she started it. So I'm looking for this book. Now, I don't know the author or the title, and I don't know what it's about. but it's got a blue cover. You feel like saying, sorry to interrupt you there, madam, but I couldn't help noticing that you're really stupid. I was in the drama department for my sins, and because it was for students, right, we had these special books called Shakespeare Made Easy. Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. All your favourites. King Lear. Come in, Your Majesty, it's pissing down. Macbeth. Bloody hell, those trees. Macbeth. Bloody hell, those trees are moving. And my particular favourite, Hamlet's soliloquy. Life, eh? That's all from me. Catch you later.
Mike Haley, thank you very much indeed, Mike. Now, a little more political comment as we watch our next piece of music on the show. It's from Zeke and Bible Belt.
Always.
I wonder if actually people will be listening to the words to that song. I hope they do. And I'm told by the people who know, standing around out here, that that's going to be a big hit. Going to be a biggie. Okay, right. Fast food. We're here. Are you all hungry, by the way? Are you all hungry?
Yes.
Are you? Yeah. Are you? Okay, Donna. Come on, give the... there's a couple of the crew want something to eat. Give them, you know, go and hand that out. I've taken my coat off because I thought... you know, we'd get into that. Now, we've got a few phone calls. My friends have joined me in the studio. Let's talk first of all to James from Kettering. Hello, James.
Hello there.
Hi.
Unlike your studio audience, I'd like to say how much I agree with the student loans.
You do you? Oh.
I do. I think students sponge off society for their first 18 years of education, so it's only right that they should repay their debt a little for the next 4 years or so.
Have you ever thought about becoming a comedian?
Not at all.
Oh, OK, Dan, right. Paul from Goldthorpe. Hello, Paul.
Hello, James.
Hi, Paul.
I'd like to say that the students of today are our teachers, doctors, nurses, etc. of tomorrow, and I think they ought to be encouraged more.
I don't know whether that's a really very good sort of advertisement for education, but still.
They ought to be encouraged more instead of discouraged.
Good.
To do a lot better.
Yeah, OK, right, fine. Paul from Hull. Hello, Paul.
Hello.
Hello, Paul.
Right, I'd just like to say that my brother took out a loan. He used to be in Durham University.
Yeah.
And he took a loan out from the Bursa, and now he owes quite a lot of money, and we have, you know, solicitors' letters come in now.
It's about time he got a job and paid it back. OK, right. Michelle from Liverpool. Hello, Michelle.
Hello, James.
Hi.
Yeah, I'd just like to ask the Conservative MP what he thinks of people who go back to education, because I'm a 22-year-old first-year student who's actually worked for 5 years. I pay taxes, and I had to qualify to earn so much to enable
Michelle.
me to get a grant.
OK, Michelle, a Geordie from Liverpool.
Yeah, now I remember listening to you on Metro Radio, James.
Please, that's aging me. Keith, over here, what about Michelle's point? I mean,
well,
she...
so far, people have confused two things, I think, that happened earlier on. The grant stays for the courses, fees for the education will still be paid for. So those that say it's not going to be free education are wrong. We're talking about the maintenance, living costs, and therefore the grant is doing that instead of the taxpayer. I mean, a lot of the pensioners, a lot of poorly paid people are paying in tax for students to have help with their living.
You keep nicking this fast food. Please be careful. One last question. What I want to know is, do you actually think it will encourage more people to be able to go to colleges, universities, polytechnics or not?
All the countries that have loan schemes have much higher proportions of young people going into higher education than we do.
You don't agree with that, huh?
No, it will discourage youngsters from going in.
The evidence doesn't prove that.
Well, and when Keith says that we're only talking about loans at this stage, that's right. But remember that the Higher Education Minister, Jackson, has already talked about students having to make a contribution towards the fees.
No.
We're going towards a country in which we have rich duffers going into higher education because others are going to be squeezed out.
Already in this country, the grant, under his government undermined, the value of the grant has gone down, so more and more students
Not in the 1970s. It went up during the last Labour government.
Well, under us as well at the end, but I mean, by and large...
OK, right, just a moment, fellas. Bernard.
Yeah.
What about a word from you?
Well, I agree with people being educated and being prime ministers and dentists and all that. I remember Harold Wilson. Harold Wilson, he used to tell lies and prove them. He wrote a book, How to Live Without Money, cost 17 quid.
You got any views, Mike? I mean, it's not long since you were in this position yourself.
It's a bit fresh for me because I was a student literally 2 years.
Did you have to sort of scrimp and save?
I got a full grant from Hearts County Council, but I couldn't have done it without that. There's just my mother at home. She couldn't afford to contribute. I wouldn't have been able to have gone to drama school if it wasn't for that grant.
OK, thank you, Michelle, for your call. Thank you. We'll come back in a few moments. Let's talk to Chris, who's phoning us from Perth. Hello, Chris.
Oh,
hi.
I'm actually from Auchterarder, but your receptionist couldn't spell that or pronounce it.
Say that again, Chris, slowly, so I can understand.
Auchterarder, which is near Perth.
Yes.
But anyway, I digress.
Auchterarder?
Yeah.
And do you mean the people taking the calls couldn't handle it?
Couldn't pronounce it.
Oh, I'll deal with them later, OK.
Yeah. Anyway, my point is, I was a student for 2 years as well. I was given a maximum grant, and I found that I was well able to cope with it.
Yeah.
I know, however, that there were quite a lot of folk who couldn't live because they weren't getting any
But you managed to cope with it?
Oh, sure, yeah.
Fantastic, good. We'll take a break, don't go away. Back in part 4 after this.
I don't know, but I've been told. Change well on your radio. Now he's on the TV too. Call him now, he'll talk to you.
Sorry about that. Would you stop that? Thank you. We have a guy who's in here just artistically putting chips in bags. He did all this. Can you get a shot of this? Go down a bit. Go down a bit. Go down a bit. Down. There, look at that. All right, OK. Thank you very much indeed to McDonald's who are standing in the back. Very nice indeed. Take a bow. There we are. Give them a quick shot. Can we get a squint at those or not? There, look at them. Wave. Now, good. Hang on just a minute. We'll take some more calls in a few moments. I'm just... what's this for me to read out? Popped away so quickly. OK. Now, one of our student friends who's doing a charity bike ride, because as you know, students do like to do things for charity. They can do all sorts of things for charity. He wanted a bike. Well, somebody said that they will give him a bike. I've got the address here. It's a 10-speed racer, but I have to give him one of my tyres. Now, I have brought in some of the tyres, and they're up here, and we will send you a tie. We'll show you some of them later, so you can give him the bike. We'll contact you later. Right, fast food. It's been all over the place. We went out to find what you think of it. Look at this.
Whaley goes to town.
Listen, I'm asking people about their fast food habits. Do you like fast food? This is an obvious problem with fast food, you see. Every time somebody comes up and speaks to you, you run off at a great speed. Fast food is aptly named. You're not worried about the sort of terrific amounts of fat, high cholesterol levels, an enormous amount of calories. I mean, may I say, like myself, you're not sort of the slimmest person in the world. Do you worry about eating these sort of things?
Well, not really. I was enjoying myself till you all...
I've not knackered it for you, have I? You eat junk food?
I do.
Tell me why.
Because it's fast and convenient and easy.
Yeah, but what if it's knacking your insides up and you're going to end up sort of one great big blob of fat? And
well, I already am, so it doesn't really matter.
I don't like it.
You don't like it?
I only like pizzas.
You like cheeseburgers and...
Does she like all that sort of stuff?
That's where we're going now for some cheeseburgers and some fries, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know there's nearly 900 calories in what you're eating?
That doesn't work with me.
You're eating a very... it looks healthy to me.
Yes, it is, yeah. I'm conscious about what I eat. And I've gone for a tuna today. It's quite expensive.
Yeah?
It's 70 pence. But you get a lot in it. And it's better than meat, than ordinary meat. It's very nice.
Yeah. So there we are, you see. Somebody who is health conscious and still eats fast food. I'd rather have a cheeseburger.
461000. He's waiting for your call now.
Sorry. Did you have a burger or not, Bernard?
Yes, I did.
You want another one?
Very nice. Yes, I'll
please.
give you a lift without me, old son.
All right.
Give you a lift.
I haven't got anything. It's all right.
I love these. Fat people live forever, you know. You've never seen a coffin shaped like that, have you? Good health, everyone.
Derek, what do MPs eat? Do they eat fast food or not?
Well, we have to, of course, because we're so busy all the time. I mean, that's all we can live on. I mean, Tory MPs are always wined and dined out, but Labour MPs live on...
Look at the poor... Look at this... Look at Mark over here on camera 2. Look at him. He's trying to take a little... Can you see, actually, Mark, here? He's got the waistcoat on, he's got a tie, and he's going bald.
I think it's your tie as well.
I think it probably is. Anyway, so fast food, which apparently is not so good for you, but does anybody care? You're dribbling all over the floor, don't you? Oh, my God, that's disgusting. Now, competition time. Last week, we held up this video. It's called The Video Dog. It actually is a video of a dog, so you don't have to take the dog for a walk. You could just put it on the video, and you could actually command... You could say sit, stay, walk, and everything else. And I said, if you write in with a good name for the video dog, the most original one will win it. Now, we had loads in, none of them very funny. First of all, here's one from D. Brown from Merseyside, and I want you... I know you've got your mouth full at the moment, Bernard, but I would like you to... You're right. Good. I would like you to tell me which one you think should win the video dog, all right? OK. First of all, I like this one from D. Brown from Merseyside, Nina Mishdog. Appeal to you. Yes. I'm not very happy about Barry Lockhart from Cheltenham, who said Mrs. Whale. She won't be happy. Richard Cranium. I think they meant dickhead, I'm not sure. From Ian Cox in Coventry. But this one I'm not sure about. I know we got this up on the screen. This comes from Jim Stevenson in King's Lynn, and I don't get this, Bernard, at all. It says, whale oil beef hooked. I mean, I don't understand that at all.
You've got to say it very quick.
You've got to say it very quickly.
Yes, ask your viewers to say it very quickly and get it
OK,
right
well, if you say it quickly at home, you'll know what it is. But whale oil beef hooked. Well, anyway, which do you think is the winner? I can't be bothered to read anymore.
Well, I'll be fucked up.
Sorry, I didn't hear that one, Bernard. That's the winner. Competition... Oi! Get in here and bring the ties around. Competition for this week is you've got to make an anagram out of the James Whale Radio Show. OK, the James Whale Radio Show, an anagram, the funniest one wins one of these delightful ties. I told you to put the ties on. In fact, I said if you're going to be in the show this week, you had to wear nothing but the ties. Which one do you like? Turn round, just bend over there so I can... Just bend over there, that's OK. So, I want to... No, come on, I just want to display the ties properly. Any of these lovely ties, whichever one you want, you can choose it next week. Don't forget, an anagram of the James Whale Radio Show. The address to send your entries to is coming up now. There we are. Good, lovely. Right. Fantastic. I'm knackered now. What are you doing?
I'm just trying this on.
Oh, OK.
I fancy this one.
You like that one?
Yeah.
That was my favourite. You want that one?
Nah, I'll just model
it. It's yours
for you.
if you want it. It's yours. Put those back. I don't want the crew getting the ties. Hang them back up. This, you thought, didn't you? So far, we haven't had much smut on the show tonight. OK? Is that true, fellas? Yep. Sure. Not much smut. I'm going to make it up now. I want you to watch this video very carefully. I don't think you're going to see it on daytime TV. I don't think Top of the Pops will be playing it, but I reckon it's going to be a huge hit. It's from Edelweiss, and it's called Bring Me Edelweiss. Watch carefully. Boogie, 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 come here, you're too far away. Come over here, come over here. Did you see we have the boogieing MPs over here, Keith and Derek. We're doing the shake to that. I didn't know. Well, look at this lot over here. The music has stopped now. Stop it. Stop it. Thank you. Right, just before we're coming up to the end of the programme, I'm going to try and squeeze in some more calls. Don't forget, keep the letters coming in. This one comes from Neil Richards from Sowerbury Bridge near Halifax. He says, I'm only 18, Bernard, this is for you, but I hope to become a professional comedian. Could you ask Bernard Manning for any advice he could give me for his help? I give below a sample of my work. Mike might like to come in with... I'm not very good at this, but I'll try and do it. There were two dogs walking down the street. One says to the other, do you know when you make... hang on, I'll do it again. Do you know when you... I told you it wasn't very good. Do you know when you go making love to all those lady dogs down by the park, do you use any kind of protection? OK. The other dog says, no, do you, Rex?
Yeah, you see, yes. That's not funny, you see. There's two dogs pissing up against the wall with its four paws like that. And a fella said, never seen nothing like that before. He said, it's always pissed like that, he said. Ever since the wall fell on it.
Just get that.
We got a call from Colin. Hello, Colin.
Hello?
Yeah, hi.
Hello.
Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Morley.
From Morley. Oh, thank you. Right, that's good. Okay.
Good point. Yeah. No, good
Sean,
point.
hello.
All right, Jamesy boy.
All right, Sean boy.
How you doing? Hey, listen, I'd like to ask Bernard, when was the last time you saw his dick?
That's not very... I'm sorry about that, Bernard.
Tell him to send me a photograph of himself.
Yeah. Up yours. What about Ian and David? Are you there? Ian and David? Forget it. That was nice, wasn't it? Click, clop. Yes. Ian and David, forget Ian and David. I was very upset with that student talking
Have
about
another
Bernard.
story. What about another story?
What?
Two Jews talking. One said, what would you do if you won the pools out? He said, if I won the pools, £1 million, I'd give you half. You're my best friend. Oh, he said, what about if you had 2 big houses? If I had 2 big houses, I'd give you a house. He said, what about if you had 2 cars? If you had 2 cars, I'd give you a car. He says, you're my friend. He said, what about if you had 2 chickens? He says, now piss off, you know I've got 2 chickens.
Mike, just before we go, as a new embryonic comedian, following the sort of the trendy alternative comedian thing at the moment, I mean, will you stay with that, or will you sort of go on to something else? Because presumably this alternative comedy is going to go out pretty soon.
Yeah, it's changing. I mean, it was all sort of in the Ben Elton era. It was all sort of.
A snowman's got more future, believe me.
No, I think the barriers are breaking down. I think it's good because, like I did the Palladium a few weeks ago. It's no problem now. I think it's good.
Great.
It's more work for everybody.
And you're getting lots of coverage.
Yeah, it's more work for everybody.
Well, we're going to continue with the fast food. We're going to continue to see if Donna will take more of her clothes off. We're going to continue with our little chats into the night. We'll be back hopefully next week at the same time on the same channel. Until then, from all of us, thank you very much indeed for watching. And we'll hop back in your car, I think, for a spin round town or something like that.
It's got to have a nice meal somewhere.
A nice meal somewhere. That's a jolly
Run
good
out
idea.
without pay.
Do you mind? You don't mind coming as well?
Absolutely.
OK, so we'll have the politicians and the MPs, mix them together. Nobody will know the difference. Catch you next week. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye. OK, what do you fancy? Chinese, Indian, or what? What?